Hey, Cody Rall here, coming to you from the Chugach mountain range, just outside of Anchorage, Alaska. When I come home, I always remember how beautiful Alaska is, but I'm also struck by how inhospitable it can be at times. The wind's roaring right now, it's bitter cold, and it's amazing that humans were ever able to survive in an environment like this. Basically right now, I'm a mammal walking around in the mountains. I'm burning metabolic energy, creating this heat. Either the food was harvested over the summer and kept stock until now in the winter, or shipped up from other areas of the globe. And basically, my body's metabolizing that, generating heat, and I've got this clothing around my skin that keeps in the heat at a very small layer around my body, allowing me to regulate my internal temperature. So how were humans ever able to ingeniously come up with these methods of keeping their heat around their body and developing other tools throughout time to allow them to encircle the entire globe? I mean, looking at the fossil and archaeological evidence, we came out of the savanna of Africa around 80,000 years ago. By 15,000 years ago, we were spreading through Asia and Europe and crossing over the land bridge into Alaska, down into North America and South America, and completing our globalization of the species. To look for answers, there's been a lot of philosophers that have looked into it. A guy named Alfred Korzybski that wrote in the 1920s through as late as the 1970s had an interesting theory that I think about sometimes when discussing this ability of humans to cover the globe with our technology. He basically divided life forms into their ability to manipulate time and space. His first distinction was energy binders, and those were plants and other bacteria that were basically able to take the energy from the sun, incorporate that into molecules, and allow themselves to replicate over time, allowing their form of life to persist through the years. The advantage was that they were self-sufficient, but they were immobile. They're unable to travel throughout space. Of course, the next big distinction came when animals came along and evolved, and those Korzybski called space binders. So those were able to move throughout space and investigate their surroundings. The cons to that was that they were not self-sufficient. They relied on the energy binders, but they could move through space, which created amazing feats like flight, swimming through water, and eventually being on land as well. So what made humans so effective was that with the development of the cerebral cortex and developed hippocampi, we became what Korzybski called time binders. So we were able to become masters of cause and effect. We could see situations, extrapolate information from that, and predict future occurrences based on what we had seen. Another aspect that made us incredibly able to cover the globe was through verbal communication. So not only were we masters of cause and effect, we could communicate this to the rest of the community. And that went even further in being able to span generations. So parents could tell their offspring things about the natural world that they could use to their advantage. The thing about animals is that they were doomed to repeat the learning process each time just by watching what their parents did and learning through that, whereas humans were able to ask questions and pass on knowledge much more efficiently. Where it became really, really advantageous was passing from generation to generation through the written word. So when writing came along, the species was able to generalize their information pool, put it into writing, and allow anybody that had the ability to read to pull information from that. And that really catapulted the species into being able to do incredible things. We were able to take our knowledge and manifested it in physical things that we call tools and technology. So everything from the first people that figured out how to make fire to the wheel, and now something as complicated as a smartphone, we've been able to pool the general species knowledge into writing and use that to build technology that really has made us the dominant species on this planet. And the reason why I bring all this up is I think as new Mavericks, we really need to think about how that came to be and really live by it. We need to be voracious readers. You really need to be reading all the time. There's been people that have been successful in each one of their niche and taken their whole lifetime to accumulate knowledge, then put it into a book over writing for a year or two. And that now is available to the general public, usually for a nominal fee. So as a new Maverick, we need to accumulate as much knowledge as possible from the people that have done what we're looking to do in order to have the best guide in getting what we want to be done and being the best that we can be. So live in the Alfred Korzybski sense, be an avid reader, gather as much knowledge as you can, and be the best that you can be at whatever that you're doing. This is Cody Rall with New Mavericks. I'll see you next time. Thanks.
We have a chance to improve the lives of not just millions, but billions of people on this planet through the research that's done in this BRAIN initiative alone.
We must love them, we must help them, we must serve them, because our whole success will depend on our ability to do these things.
Do a little dance, get happy.
You like fractals? That's cool. We're gonna break the barrier. Oh yeah! Oh
A little doggy.
yeah!
I have friends.
So now there's a f***ing raven flying overhead.